He's doubting my words like he needs some proof. Plus he struggles with the idea of absolute truth. He won't practice those things which he don't esteem. He hates absolute truth, then he's a supreme being. Since he has no standards, then he has no answers. His contribution in life is just prostate cancer. I try to answer the questions he throws my way. Hopefully another man will be born today.
So yeah, we really discussed manhood, and I really want to kind of wrap it up. And I heard an old saying one time saying that there was two kinds of men. There's leaders and there's followers. And so I feel like everybody in our society is a quote unquote like a do boy. You know what I mean? Like whatever someone tells them to do, that's what they're gonna do. They never think about it. So I feel like as a man, you definitely have to understand like the difference between being a leader and being a follower. So I kind of wanted to throw that question out there, like, so what does it look like for a man to be a leader and not be a follower? So talk about that.
That's good. To begin, I think that those terms, being a leader and a follower, are not mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're a leader and a follower at the same time, because you are following somebody, and people are looking up to you and following you in the things that you do, in a sense. So I think they're, pretty much the same person, but different roles and look different contexts.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think in order to lead, you must have followed first to kind of know how you would lead, in a sense. So I guess you mentioning like people always wanting to follow, I think that's a good and a bad thing. It could be kind of like trying to pass a torch, like you mentioned earlier. Like in that sense, it's bad, but in the sense of really submitting to authority and learning from people, that's good. So I think in order to be a leader, you must be a follower, like you're saying.
I know, like for me, like my natural tendency is to lead. So I think what Julian said is really good, because if you're that guy who's like, I'm a leader, that can turn into just you trying to be king, and that's not a real leader. Like, but if you're that guy who's really super passive and just like, well, I'm just going to follow the crowd and kind of do what everybody else is doing, and at the end of the day, then you'll never be a leader because you're kind of just content with following. So at the end of the day, it's definitely got to be a healthy balance between when do I step up and stand for what's right, or take initiative and be a leader, but at the same time looking to some example to what it even means to be a leader. So in that, you have to be a follower. So it's just don't shift too far over to the right or left.
And I just remember doing some research. Like I just feel like most people, most people in prison, they're like not really in prison because they did something, but because of affiliation. Like I just know just growing up, like a lot of stuff we used to do, a lot of stupid, simple stuff we never did because we felt like we wanted to do it, but because someone else told us to do it. So I definitely feel like you guys kind of discussed, like being a man, like you can't just follow anybody. Like I feel like nowadays, everyone's trying to follow somebody. Like people, why do most kids smoke? They don't smoke because they want to, because someone else told them to do it. They saw it on a music video, they saw it on a TV show. So I definitely feel like that's an issue. So like you guys kind of just somewhat brought up like the idea of following the right people. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, you're following somebody. So it goes back to like following the right people. So like people, like by saying the right people, like what do you guys kind of mean by that? Like kind of clear that up a little bit.
I mean, just give a good example and a bad example in culture. Like look at P. Diddy and the Ciroc Boys. P. Diddy's like glorifying, he's promoting this alcoholic beverage, which is vodka, and now people posting pictures with a whole bunch of Ciroc bottles. Like drunkenness is cool now. So like people are following him. He's leading them. But you also see good examples. You can go throughout history for those, like MLK, and people follow Obama. That can be controversial. But like there's good examples and there's bad examples. But you do see how influential people can be and how people mindlessly follow one or the other. So I don't know.
I think there definitely has to be a standard when you're talking about following somebody, because if you have no standard, then you end up somewhere where you didn't even think you were going. That aimlessly following somebody is just foolish. So it definitely has to be some type of standard in which you're having some, idea of where I'm going if I'm following this or that person. So there's definitely got to be, healthy examples, and obviously the best example has to be God. If there's only a perfect, example that we can look to, then we can't look to man. We can't look to ourselves. So there has to be something out there to give us a infallible example of like, okay, I can look to him and know that he's not going to lead me into anything wrong because he's perfect. So
how would you distinguish when the person you're following is doing something right or wrong, if you're really submitting to that person.
I definitely think it comes out in their speech and their conduct, and their vision. That comes out, like I said, in their lyrics. Sometimes we listen to music, or just in any other context that maybe, I don't know, it's kind of difficult to describe now, but like, it does come out by the way that they live their lives. Their character is exposed. So you do have a sense of where they're going. You know what I mean? So it's not like these people don't know that these rappers or whatever it may be, they don't know their end. You know what I mean? Like, it's clear. But just choosing to follow.
I definitely goes back into the standard. Like, if your standards are to where life is all about live, you know, what Drake's, you know, about YOLO. You only live once. If that's your standard of living, like, do whatever you want because you only got one time, then hey, Drake is a great guy to follow. But there's definitely a higher standard than that. Than the reality, there has to be more than this. Than just this life than just money, having fun, and partying. So if that's your standard of living, then I guess Drake is a great leader. But at the end of the day, I just don't see him as a proper example of that. You know, Drake is a cool guy, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Shout out, trying to get it. Drake is coming for you.
Speaker is about to start.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's about having a standard that is even beyond Drake. Drake isn't perfect. Drake isn't, you know, the rapper or even the man. So who else to look to but Jesus, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, so, man, that was great. I just feel like at the end of the day, don't follow anybody. Like, we're gonna follow somebody. Follow the right type of people. And of course, you like brought up, like, Christ is the person you want to follow. And just really, I just really want to tell most guys, just like grab them and shake them up, you know, like, don't just be a do-boy, man. Like, don't just do what everyone tells you to do. Like, have a think for yourself, man. Just don't, oh, smoke this. Sure, I'm gonna do it. No, like, think. You know what I mean? Like, think. I think, like, being a leader is something a man has to lead courageously. So, that's good.